Hello and welcome to our July monthly council meeting for Corangamite Shire. Firstly, I'd like to introduce my fellow councillors that we have in the room tonight. I have Councillor Ruth Australian, Councillor Joe Beard, Councillor Jamie Vogels, Councillor Geraldine Canady and Councillor Nick Cole. And we also have directors and managers around the table as well. So I have Mr. Sean Broadbent, Director of Works and Services, Miss Justine Lindley, Director of Sustainability Development, Mr. Lyle Bond, Manager of Environment and Emergency, Mr. Aaron Moyne, Manager of Planning and Building Services. And then we swing over the other side of the table and I've got Mr. Andrew Tenney, Acting Director of Corporate and Community Services. I have Michelle Stevens, Manager of Human Resources and Risk. And then last but not least, I have Mr. Chris Asenjo, Manager of Governance and Risk and Civic Support, And I nearly forgot, Mr. CEO, Mr. David Ray, the most important one of the table, is it not? Not. Thanks, Councillor Beard, for that one. So I'll go on to our for guidance and blessing on this council. May the true needs and well-being of our communities be our concern. Help us, who serve as leaders, to remember that all our decisions are made in the best interest of the people, culture and the environment of the Corangamite Shire. Amen. Acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land around Corangamite Shire, the Eastern Maar and the Wadawurrung people. We pay our respects to all Aboriginal elders, past and present and emerging. So, Mr. CEO, do we have any apologies for tonight, please?
Madam Mayor, there is an apology this evening from Councillor Laurie Hickey.
And moving on to declarations of conflict of interest, do we have any tonight?
Madam Mayor, there are a number of conflicts of interest for this evening's agenda. Councillor Canady has a conflict in relation to item 7.1. Councillor Beard has a conflict in relation to all councillors have a conflict in relation to 9.8, and Councillor Canady has a conflict in relation to item 9.9. So,
excellent. So it's going to be a busy night.
very busy.
Yes. I'm moving on to item number 5, confirmation of minutes for the 25th of June 2024. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole, do I have a seconder? Councillor Vogels. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. We have plenty of people in the gallery tonight and I'm so excited to have another citizenship ceremony happening. So I just need to call for a motion of suspended standing orders. So can I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Beard, do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady, and all those in favour? Carried. Thank you. We'll go over and do our citizenship. Thank you. Right, this is the fun part of the night. I like these nights. So welcome. This citizenship ceremony is being conducted as prescribed in the Australian Citizenship Act 2007 and the Australian Citizenship Regulation 2016 under the authority of the Minister of Immigration, Citizen, Migrant Services and Multicultural Affairs. As Mayor, I have been authorised as a person who may receive the pledge as a citizen of the Commonwealth of Australia. Making the pledge is your first step. Making the pledge is your final step, in becoming an Australian citizen. So I just have a message that I need to read out to you from the Honourable Andrew Giles MP. He's the Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs. Thank you for deciding to become an Australian citizen. Today you join a nation that is the world's most successful multicultural societies, with around half of all Australians either born overseas or with at least one parent born overseas. In Australia, everyone can be proud of who they are and everyone should be respected, valued and feel a sense of belonging. We are privileged to share this beautiful country with the world's oldest continuing culture that is fundamentally part of who we are. For more than 60,000 years, First Nations people have cared for country. Appreciating and understanding this truth is a vital part of what it means to be an Australian. Australians are united by the shared commitment of democratic and the rule of law, and a freedom of speech, religion and diversity is the greatest strength, and we prosper by embracing this. We believe in a society in which everyone is equal, regardless of their gender, faith, sexual orientation, age, ability, race, national or ethnic origin. Our land is the land of the fair go, in which respect and compassion underpin our care for each other and our willingness to reach out to those around us in times of need. By becoming an Australian citizen, you make a commitment to these values and are contribute to an ever-evolving Australian story. On behalf of the Australian Government, heartfelt congratulations on becoming an Australian citizen. Next bit of formality is Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia, and Australian citizenship is a common bond involving reciprocal rights and obligations, uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons on whom Australian citizens is conferred enjoy these rights and undertake to accept these obligations. A, by pledging loyalty to Australia and its people. B, by sharing their democratic beliefs. C, by respecting their rights and liberties. And D, by upholding and obeying the laws of Australia. So now comes the fun part. We're on to the Australian Citizen Pledge. So who has pledged oath number 1? I will ask Joelle, Success, Sarah, Olga, Maria, Kate, and Neil to come forward, please. You want to come forward? That would be great. Pledge 1. Right. Joelle. Right, so I got Neil and then Maria. Olga. Okay. One. And Sarah. Yeah. I got that. Everyone got one? Yeah. Cool. So I'll say a little bit and you just repeat after me. You've got the words in front of you, so that's fine. From this time forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people.
I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people.
Whose democratic beliefs I share.
Whose democratic beliefs I share.
Whose rights and liberties I respect.
Whose rights and liberties I respect.
And whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations, you are now Australian citizens. And then we'll hand out all the goodies. How does that sound? So, people taking in pledge 2 are Fiona, Angela, Janine, Hayden, and Samantha. I think I got them all right. Right. Yeah. Thank you. So, from this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people. Whose democratic beliefs I will share. Whose rights and liberties I respect. And whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. I've got something for you to do. For you. Two plants. I'll leave the plants so you can grab them on the way and have that running up right here. Yeah. Sarah. I'll grab the photos and everything in the back. Anybody want to see? I'll keep the plant on my side. Congratulations. Well done. Congrats. There you go. Olga and Maria and Kate. Congratulations, well done. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect, well done. Angela? Perfect, well done. Good work. Neil? Janine Hayden. So if you want to take photos, more than welcome. Jump up in front of the flag, take photos, highlight photos. Come on up. Oh, sorry. I'll be quick. I would like the national anthem, but if we all stand the national anthem, I can't forget that. Get everyone. Rightio. Welcome back. That was a bit exciting. Can I call for a motion to resume standing orders, please? Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Vogel, seconder. Councillor Canady, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So we move on to item number 6, which is deputation and presentations. We have one deputation tonight, and it's on regarding agenda item 8.1, planning permit application PP 2024/305. 175 Lower Darlington Road, Deverney. Mr. Adam O'Halloran is speaking for us tonight. Would you like to come up? Yep. You have 5 minutes and we'll give you a bell when there's about a minute left, so take your time.
All right. Thank you for allowing us to respond to the planner's recommendations for the planning application for the boundary realignment. I'm Adam O'Halloran, as was introduced, licensed surveyor, helping the owners with the application, and I'm here with Lachlan Bridie, the owner, one of the owners. Firstly, we'd just like to emphasise that the application is not seeking to change the way the land is being used or increase the number of lots. It is simply looking to realign the boundaries to accord with the existing uses. One lot for all the farming land, which was approximately 86 hectares, and one lot for the existing dwelling, associated shedding, yards, trees and driveway. The proposed boundaries have been determined to accord with the existing uses and features on the site. It has been noted frequently in the planning report that the application will affect the farming operations, terms like impact the right to farm, potential to cause conflict of use, need to protect productive land from inappropriate subdivisions, and trying to avoid fragmentation of agricultural land. Our argument is that the realignment is trying to not to do these things, to try to avoid the fragmentation of the land. We're proposing, there's two 40-hectare lots that are both farming zones. We're trying to incorporate all the farming land into one 80-hectare lot and just create the 3-hectare house lot. The planner also raised concerns in relation to the proposed 80-hectare farming lot with the potential for further subdivision and also creating the right of use for another dwelling. It's correct that the 80 hectares would have a right of use for a new dwelling, but the 40-hectare lot also does at the moment. So at the moment, there's right of use for 2 dwellings, one on each lot. aligning the boundaries isn't changing that. And the subdivision, creating an 80-hectare lot under the planning scheme, you could potentially subdivide it. The easy way to fix that is just a restriction on the title, or on the 173 agreement on the title, restricting it to no further subdivision. I've spoken to Lachlan about that, and he's more than happy to have something like that on the title. Yeah, so really that's my summary. Lachlan's got a few points that he'd like to make. If he can just come up now, or yeah.
Yep, just introduce yourself, Lachlan, and that's fine. You can have a couple of minutes as well. That'd be fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Lachlan Bridie, one of the owners of the property. Thanks for your time, and I'd probably just like to say thanks to the council that came out on site and actually got to see what we're trying to do. So Joe, Ruth, Nick, and thanks Aaron too. We're not trying to change anything within the actual lot. We're still going to be farming the country as it is, and the land we've separated off is basically just isolating that portion of it out. When I kind of look at what the council plan is in terms of like a thriving community, focusing on and retaining the growing population, as well as the key essential worker housing supply action plan, what we're trying to do, it kind of enables that as well. So we're kind of aligning what the action Shire is trying to do. But yeah, that's probably, and like probably the other part of the thing is like condition precedent being set where like there's over 30 examples that I've been able to find where they've actually had plots that have been subdivided within that period, and similar lot sizes and the like. So
Okay.
that's probably all I've got.
Thank you. Thank you, gents. Appreciate it. We'll move on to item 7, committee reports, which is 7.1 Mount Druitt annual report and community nominations. And I think Councillor Canady, you have a conflict on this one today. So item 7.1, Mount Druitt annual report and committee nominations, Mr. Bond.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, the report tonight provides Council with the Mount Druitt Asset Management Committee's annual report and committee nominations. The Mount Druitt Management Committee was first established as an asset management committee in 2018, and the committee has specific delegation over the Mount Druitt Reserve. Over the past 12 months, the committee have completed a design style guide for both infrastructure and signage on the site, revegetated 2 hectares on the reserve, established a community planting day, which has another one coming up in August in 2024. They've also participated in the 4 Peaks Challenge and been able to finalise and manage tracks on the site and undertake a range of works that have improved the facility that's available for the wider community, which is quite an outstanding result for any volunteer committee. The committee comprises 10 elected community members, 1 council representative and 2 standing members. The community representatives on the committee are appointed for a 4-year term with nominations for 5 positions advertised biannually. This year there was 5 committee positions that become vacant and were advertised in accordance with the terms of reference. At the completion of the advertising period, 3 nominations were received. The committee reviewed the nominations and are recommending that all 3 applications be considered by council. Due to the low number of applicants and the large number of members already on the committee, it is proposed to undertake a review of the committee terms of reference over the next 12 months to determine an appropriate number for the committee moving forward. Councillors, the recommendations before you.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Castrain, do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole. Councillor Castrain?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, the committee here at Mount Druitt has certainly been very busy over the last 12 months, as Mr. Bond has outlined, and they're certainly not going to let the grass grow under their feet, even though we would like grass to grow at the moment. They've got a busy 12 months of work scheduled, which will commence on the new crater viewing platform weather shelter, which has been funded by Acciona, complete some more revegetation, development of the site. It's really important of the website to get communication out there as well as an information brochure. They've done an amazing job, and it's great to see that the number of people who are actually utilising the site is increasing, so they're going up to 26 visitors a day, which is excellent. Also, I think we just need to highlight, like so many of our committees across Corangamite Shire, it's all done by volunteers, although there is a project coordinator who does do a few hours each week. So over 800 hours has been clocked up over the last 12 months with a total estimated value of about $20,000, which is wonderful. Mount Noorat's also very fortunate in the fact it has its own income stream through communications towers and grazing licences. So just short of $50,000 a year goes into maintaining this great community asset. Can I thank all the 5 committee members, of which 3 of them are not returning to the committee, but thank Susan Morris and Peter McSween and Kim Rankin for putting their hands up to join the committee. There is the 2 positions which are still vacant, which I understand as part of the motion that we're going to look at changing the delegation, the committee of management, management instrument of delegation, to reduce it from 10 members down to 8 in total. So I think that's a good outcome, and I wish them all the best for the coming 12 months.
Thank you, Councillor Constrain. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'd like to endorse Councillor Constrain's words. Very good. We are so lucky. We live in the 3rd largest volcanic plain in the world, so we have the magnificent lakes and craters area all around us, and very few other people have this. And they wake up in the morning and see these views, now being interrupted by wind turbines, unfortunately, but anyway. So it's an outstanding job that these committees do looking after these hills with Mount Elephant, Mount Lura, Sugarloaf, Noorat as well, managed by committees of management. They do an outstanding job, and I congratulate them. I'm more than happy to move the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there any other commentary? Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you. I think it's worth noting when we look back each year, we get a report like this, and when I think back to, I think it was 2017, maybe 2018, when this committee was first formed after the passing of the late Mr. Neil Black, and he gifted this to the community, but council were to be the responsible holders of that. And I would think he'd be really proud to know that there's so many people that are still involved in seeing his vision of what that mount meant to a lot of people, and to see that the increase, as Councillor Constrain alluded to, that the increase is only getting higher and higher in terms of usage. And that's a testament to not only him and his vision he had for the usage of this mount and for people to enjoy it of all ages. I know my kids have walked it with school, and they're all learning, they're continually learning about the craters, which is a really important, significant history for our region. I think he'd be really proud, and to know that I think one of the members tonight that we're approving, Kim Rankin, she was the previous project officer, and I know Kim and know how much she loved that. She had to move on due to her own other work purposes, but the fact is that she wants to be on as a volunteer now must mean something, that, you know, people really enjoy that committee and the work that gets done. So congratulations to that committee, that I think they're really doing some amazing work, and just keeping that, I don't know, it's just an incredible legacy that Mr. Black left for everyone to enjoy, and I think this is a real reflection of that we're reading tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Any other commentary? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Can we get Councillor Canady back in, please? Thank you. Moving on to item 8.1, which is planning permit application PP 2024/3035, 175 Lower Darlington Road, Deverney, 2-lot subdivision. Mr. Moyne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, I present council with this report for planning permit application PP 2024-035. The application seeks approval for a 2-lot subdivision, being the re-subdivision of the land, which will create a small lot for a dwelling. The subdivision is sought to facilitate the potential sale of the dwelling which is currently vacant and unoccupied. The subject land has an area of approximately 89.6 hectares and consists of 2 lots and contains the single dwelling, farm shed and other agricultural infrastructure. And the site is part of a larger farming enterprise, which is used predominantly for cropping. Land within the area is predominantly used for agriculture itself, and the property is located within the Western District Lakes area, with land gently undulating and sloping towards Lake Martin. The proposal itself seeks to create Lot 1 of approximately 3 hectares containing the existing vacant dwelling, farm shed, dam and driveway, and Lot 2 of approximately just over 40 hectares of balanced cropping land. 80 hectares of balanced cropping land. Public notice of the application was not given or deemed necessary as surrounding land is within common ownership. Planning assessment of the application has been undertaken and focuses on the policy direction within the Corangamite planning scheme, which discourages the creation of small rural residential lots in productive agricultural areas, particularly where they raise issues around continuation of agriculture and future potential land use conflict. The Corangamite planning scheme discourages the creation of rural residential lots, which may restrict the continuation and future growth of agriculture in the Shire. And the north of the Shire itself incorporates a significant and highly productive farmland, both for cropping and grazing. Whilst the proposed subdivision may enable the dwelling to be sold and separated directly from agriculture, a high level of weight should be given to the protection of agricultural land. The subdivision itself will create an isolated rural residential lot disconnected from agriculture, which presents land use conflict issues with ongoing agricultural production and will lead to land use change. The application also lacks information regarding the occupancy of the existing dwelling, and if approved may establish an outcome that requires a further planning permit to be obtained for the dwelling as a rural residential use on a lot less than 40 hectares. The proposed subdivision will result in the fragmentation of agricultural land and conflicts with the strategic and policy direction of the planning policy framework and provisions of the farming zone and the recommendations provided before you.
Thank you, Mr Moyne. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Gastrain, do I have a seconder? Councillor Beard, Councillor Gastrain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and can I just begin by expressing to the applicant who's with us tonight about how we deal with each application individually and how difficult these applications, particularly for these small lot subdivisions, have become. We're seeing so many of them, and while this one is different from the others in the fact that it's in a completely different part of the Shire, it's not down the south, and it is cropping country, not dairying country, there still is certainly a risk of creating an isolated rural residential, I suppose, lot in the farming zone. It's also of concern that it is in a battle axe configuration, so that the house will be completely surrounded by the farming operations. It isn't connected with the farm, although I believe there is a proposed purchaser who is involved in the industry, but this is no guarantee about who buys this property into the future and the potential impacts that they can have on this property from operating. So, we talked earlier about right to farm, and agriculture is really what Corangamite's all about. So we need to protect our agricultural land as much as we can. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gastrain. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and this is a tricky one, and I thank both Adam and Lachlan for speaking tonight because it's not easy. And to you, Lachlan, thank you to you and your dad for allowing us to come and visit the site, because we always say how beneficial it is to us to get a first-hand impression of what it is you guys are trying to achieve and what we're making a decision on. You can't beat first-hand, and it really does matter. And I know the rest of the councils would have been there if they hadn't have been up in Canberra on other business. So it was of great importance to us. And it's great to see the passion that you actually said tonight around what you are trying to do, because we don't always hear that. So you can tell that you're genuine. I guess what we have to make our decision on is a pretty significant black and white rule book when it comes to planning. A few years ago, and both Councillor Gastrain and I have been on council for a long time, and I have no doubt that a few years ago we would have looked at that and this would have probably been a no-brainer to support you. But when we look at our planning scheme and the state planning laws around what we need to be protecting, and it stands out pretty, I don't know, it's pretty loud to me particularly, that agriculture is our number one industry and we need to do all we can to not only support but protect it. And I guess the biggest thing for me at the moment is not having an assumption that even though you may have someone who's prepared to buy it and is actually an agriculture contractor themselves, there's no guarantee that that will be the case in 12 months, 2 years' time. So for me, I look at the protection of that land sits with the decision we make now. And although it may not be clear to everybody else, we have, as I said, we have a rule book that we look by. We do take on board what our planning officers recommend. We don't always agree with them, do we, Mr. Moyne?
No, not at all.
But for me and the state in which we're at, particularly in current times with protection of agriculture and how much it really does mean to not only our economy but to our communities, to our people who run those farms, I do take on board what the Corangamite planning scheme means, and it is discouraging creation of small rural residential lots. So for me, I'll be supporting the officer recommendation tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Is there any other commentary? Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to propose an alternative motion, mate, which is,
Hold on, Councillor Cole. We have to deal with the motion
Oh, right,
that's
sorry.
on the floor first.
We can foreshadow.
You can foreshadow the motion.
Oh,
That's fine to
foreshadow.
say.
Yep.
That's
I'll
fine.
do that. Thank you, sorry.
So you can speak to your foreshadow motion. Yep.
Just a brief summary.
Yeah, brief summary of your foreshadow motion because I don't think it's been circulated.
No, no. It's just that we will vote against the motion. No,
So
I'd
what's
like to
what's
move-
the foreshadow of an alternate motion that you're going to put forward?
that we won't vote for being, that will not be, it can be sold at least, separated off and sold.
Okay, all right, no worries, that's fine. So we'll deal with the motion that we've got on the table at the moment. So I'll go to Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do agree entirely with the comments of Councillor Castrain and Councillor Beard. And I do appreciate you coming in and speaking to us tonight. And I can see that the intent of your application does seem reasonable, but the point is it is incompatible with our planning scheme, and we really can't escape that. But I mean, whilst, as Councillor Castrain pointed out, we do look at all these applications on an individual basis, and as Councillor Beard said, it is really difficult because sometimes, you know, from a practical perspective, or you just think that, you know, on the face of things, sometimes it looks like, you know, that, oh, that's going to be okay and it's quite reasonable. But, you know, when you read through the purpose of the planning scheme, you know, it's quite clear that that usually isn't the case. And also in terms of protecting our agricultural land, we also need to apply the long-term lens as well. And in it, you know, alongside that individual assessment of the particular application. And there's no doubt that this would absolutely create a situation where we've got fragmentation in the farming zone, and that's something that we're very particular about protecting. So I support the motion that is up at the present time.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Is there any other commentary? Councillor Vogels?
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, they're all tough decisions. There's obviously going to be issues, but I think the issues in the south are a lot different to the issues in the northern parts of the Shire. In the southern part of the Shire, small acreage farms in comparison to the north, and a completely different style of farming, from heavy animal farming to cropping and stuff. So this would be a two-lot subdivision, which isn't creating an extra title, but like a boundary realignment, which does fit in with our planning scheme, and it says so in clause 35.07-3, that if it's a two-lot subdivision, to create a lot for an existing dwelling is a subdivision of existing lots, and the number of lots is not increased, which this all fits in, meets all these requirements. The proposal does not change the land the way it's currently being used. No additional lots are being created, and consolidation of all farming land into one title ensures the retention of the productivity of the land. I think this is a way to enhance
farm consolidation. Now, this is was it 1,719 hectare farm, and farms are generally made up of lots of smaller lots that have been pulled together to make a bigger farm over the years. Now, on this complete property, I'm guessing, well, I'm looking at there's 2 other dwellings on this large farm, and this is obviously one that's not being used, which will be left to go derelict, which we see happen a lot. These are going to be the options. They're going to have a derelict house that's unused and fallen into rack and ruin, or a house that somebody can purchase and create a life in it. Hopefully, like they said, with the a contractor living out there is always handy to have in your local area, because we do need suppliers to the industry, which probably in certain circumstances need to live out in farmland rather than in town with their equipment and everything. So you can't have all your harvest equipment and your headers or your mowers and your tractors and your balers and everything and live in town. Not going to happen. You're not going to live in an industrial state. You need to be separated from town in a rural sort of area. So at certain times it does make sense to have these lots. Now, not on every occasion, and it does happen from time to time if it makes sense for agriculture. And I don't think this is a case where that it is bad for agriculture. I think there's a lot of long bows drawn to say that it is, and I think there's always a risk, and there is a risk. You're never going to have no risk, and we do that at council all the time. We look at the amount of risk, and I think this is more of a if you've got your green, yellow, red, this would be more of a green risk than a red risk. So I'm not supporting the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Coles, you can speak against the recommendation that's before us now before speaking against for your foreshadow motion if you'd like to.
Right. Thank you. Then, thank you, Mayor. We've always said we run each one on its merits. So as Councillor Vogel said, this is very different to what happens down south. I know that because I live up north and it's a totally different kettle of fish. This one's remote in a lot of ways. It's at least 1.5 kilometres to the nearest house. And down south, they're at least 250 metres, probably most of them. So it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's up a dirt road. And this brings in its own challenges in the fact that building up a dirt road like that, if someone's living in it, you've got ideas of people coming up and down these roads and things. We've recently had some burglaries in my area, up a dirt road, one-way street, and there's no one living up there. So we don't know who's coming in and going out anymore on these farms. So it's good to have someone living up them to check on what's going, a bit of neighbourhood watch what's going on. It's sort of bounded to the south by the Cundair Pools and the Lake Martin, and there's no way in and out of that area. So it's the only way in to get into this area. So it's a totally different style of living to what happens down south. I know for a fact in our area as well, there's in the last, I'm not sure how many years now, probably 3 or 4, that there have been 4 houses burnt down in our area because they were left abandoned. Well, they just weren't suitable anymore. They'd past their use by date, and the landowners, instead of splitting them off, they've just been torched to get rid of them because they're a liability on the farms now. And I know of a few more that are more than likely going to head that way within reason. And I'm not sure what's happening further north around. It's big cropping areas further north, and small houses on blocks like this, if they can't be split off, are an absolute liability. So they're just as easy to put the torch in, then you can put a tractor over the whole area and plough it up. So we have someone that's keen to split the house off and someone that's keen to buy the house and therefore be useful, and gives us someone living in an area that's rather remote, which is always a bit of a challenge too. So that's why I'm going to move a separate motion.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. If there Any other commentary, councillor Castrol?
Sorry, mine was literally, I just wanted to, even though I wasn't the mover of the original recommendation, I wanted to give the chance to hear, for the sake of debate, what councillor Cole had to say for Shadow, so thank you.
No worries. So unfortunately, I couldn't come to the site inspection. We weren't around, so my apologies for not being there. Otherwise, I'd definitely be there. I'm a person that likes to see things in the flesh rather than looking at pieces of paper because they tell a totally different story. So, and as we've heard from the other councillors around the table, we are in a critical stage of agriculture at the moment within the Shire, and unfortunately, and it's a bit unfortunate for you guys at the moment, and what we are having down south with the plantations and everything else, it's making it quite difficult for us, but we also are at the point where we need to protect our agricultural land, and we always go on about here at Corangamite, agriculture is our biggest employer, biggest person in contributing people to Corangamite Shire, and I really think we need to support that. And I will be going with the officer's recommendation not to support this application going forward because we are in that critical stage of agriculture at the moment. We need to support everything we can do. We can't crystal ball it and see what's going to happen in the future as to who might buy this land or what might happen in the future of it. We have to look at the here and now. And unfortunately for the here and now, we need to protect our future of agriculture in the Shire. So I'll be going with the recommendation from the officers on that one there. So if there's no other commentary going forward, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Or all those against? 2. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. So I'll move on to item 9, Officer Report, 9.1, Biannual Strategic Risk Report, July 2024. Ms Stevenson.
Oh, thank you. And through you, Madam Mayor. The biannual strategic risk report presents the Council's strategic risk profile effective at 2nd of July 2024 as provided for Council's information. This report complies with the Local Government Performance Reporting Framework requirement for 6 monthly reports of strategic risks to Council operations, their likelihood and consequence of occurring, and the risk minimisation strategies in place. It's also a requirement of the Audit and Risk Committee's annual work plan. Strategic risk profile is managed within the Corporate Risk Register, which documents and manages the strategic risk to Council's operations and also the operational risks aligned to each of the strategic risks. The strategic risk report, which is attached under separate cover, details each strategic risk and its current and residual risk profile. At the time of preparing this report, there were no outstanding treatments and no high or extreme residual risks. So the recommendation is before you, councillors, and that is that you receive this report.
Thank you, Ms Stevenson. Councillors, as a recommendation before us, do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Canady, do I have a seconder? Councillor Castrone, Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I see it as a document of awareness and preparedness, and I think it is really important that we are monitoring and reviewing our risks to Council and to Council operations. And when I'm looking at the risk detail, those documents that are attached to this report, it's really evident that the plan is active, and I think that's a really important thing. I noticed that many of the existing controls are deemed fully effective, but we do acknowledge where improvements need to be made, and the treatments and training plans that we apply to those, all of the risks, in fact, and to see that those plans are in progress. So I think it's really, really pleasing that this plan is monitored and is active, and there's no complacency around the risks that are recognised and documented in this report. So I'm very happy to support the motion in front of us.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillor Castrone?
No, nothing further, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. If there's no other commentary, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I'll move on to item number 9.2, Property Insurance Premium Authorisation of Payment. Ms Stevenson.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. This report is to request Council's authorisation for the payment of the 2024-25 property insurance premium. Council's a member of a mutual scheme for local government entities, which is managed by JLT. Scheme manages a discretionary trust as well as placing conventional property insurance, minimising the premiums for councils while providing the benefits associated with the mutual scheme. Unfortunately, a number of factors have impacted the placement of insurances for councils this year, including the aggregate fund being exhausted due to a high number of claims on the scheme by councils, and this means that insurers are paying higher levels of claims rather than coming from the aggregate scheme. Insurers have all been impacted by $60 million in flood claims from the 2022 year, resulting in a hardening insurance market and increased premiums. And property values have increased considerably over the last 3 years since the last property valuation. As a result of these factors, the premium for the placement of this year's property insurance portfolio exceeds the Chief Executive's Office's financial delegation limit of $500,000. This report therefore seeks the Council's authorisation for payment of the premium. And the recommendation is before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Stevenson. Councillor, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please?
Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Madam Mayor, thank you. And I apologise, Ms Stevenson, this is without notice, but I'm just, I'm just wondering if our history, I mean, this is a sizable increase, which is obviously, it's not just Corangamite, this is across the board. If there is anything in our history it's pushed it up as far as it has. And is there any way that we can actually reduce the premium by increasing the excess on these policies?
Certainly through Madam Mayor. Councillor Strain, yes, our history does influence the premium to a certain extent, and there have been a couple of large claims during the premium sensitive period, as do the claims from the whole of the scheme, so all councils have influenced the premium as well, but the single most influencing factor has been a large increase in property valuations. So before the revaluation, the increase was around 6%, and after the reval, it's increased considerably higher than that.
Yeah. And the increasing on the excess, does that bring the, you can do that with your home insurance? So
Yeah, they've
just
already increased the excess for us.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, as part of this. So it's getting increasingly difficult to place insurance for councils because of the claims history for councils.
It is
You know,
indeed.
the reasons behind that.
Thank you. Sorry.
No,
Mayor,
don't
I-
apologise. That's what we're here for. So I have a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Beard. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Castrain. Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and thank you. I am reluctantly moving this one. And I'm so glad that Councillor Castrain asked the question around increasing the excess, because I thought I was going to be the naive one going to ask that, because that's what you would do at home and with health insurance. But anyway, look, it just goes to show that local government aren't immune to everybody else. Cost of living, inflation of cost of rebuilds, and through no fault of our own, you've just explained to Ms Stevenson around, you know, that other people have had claims because we're in that joint actioning, I guess you could say, that's why our levies have gone up as well. But this one hurts, it stings, because through no fault of our own often, you can understand if we've had our own claims, and we know we have over the years, but through no fault of our own, we're having to have this significant increase, and you don't budget for that. Particularly when it's outside the range of what technically we know our price increases are going to come at. But even to rebuild a home, and that now everyone knows, it's significantly more than what it was even 2 years ago. So I can understand, but it doesn't mean we have to like it. So now the CEO, Mr. CEO, you get the chance to, we're giving you the chance to spend a little bit more, but we'll rein that back in as soon as we can. Yeah, as I said, reluctantly happy to move that motion or that recommendation. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Beard. Councillor Castrain.
No, nothing further.
Nothing
Thank you.
further. Is there any other commentary? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I move on to item 9.3, contract 2025-011, supply and delivery of one compactor for the Corangamite Regional Landfill. And I've been told this is to squish things down. Is that right, Mr. Bond?
That is correct. Through you, Madam Mayor, the report tonight seeks to award a contract for the supply of the compactor for the landfill. This compactor is an important piece of plant as it ensures council maximises the value of landfill airspace on site and is due for replacement due to the age of the machine and the ever, I suppose, growing squishing of the waste. It also ensures EPA compliance as the new machine will provide reliability, but also maximising the operations on site. The current compactor was purchased when the landfill also received less waste, and therefore this tender has also provided an opportunity to size a machine that meets the current demand of the landfill's operation. Tenders were sought from suitable plant suppliers and included both a trade-in or without a trade-in. And the tender was advertised for a 4-week period closing on the 29th of May, with 3 submissions provided from 2 suppliers at the closing of the tender period. A panel of qualified and experienced council staff undertook the evaluation of the submissions, and all tenders were found to be conforming tenders with the specification. After the evaluation, the panel determined that GCM Enviro's tender submission offers council the best replacement option with a competitive changeover price, a quick delivery time frame, and a compatible machine with our current use at the landfill. The company also has the capability to provide training, post-delivery service, and also parts for the machine at short notice. Council, the recommendations before you.
Thank you, Mr Bond. Council, there's a recommendation before us. Do we have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels, do I have a seconder? Councillor Cole, Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Could I firstly ask Mr Bond a question without notice? Is it possible to get a bigger, heavier one? So we're looking at the 50 tonnes. Do they push them out any bigger to make it quicker and more effective and efficient? Like man hours and diesel hours, because you got here from the 826 is only 41.5 tonnes, and that requires a lot longer than the next heavier one, and so on. So is there a limit to how big we can go?
So there are limits to machine size. With this is around the largest machines that are brought into Australia. But what we're looking to find is a machine that matches our waste volume and intake so that we can efficiently manage the waste in a timely manner without using the most amount of diesel or office or staff time. So this machine is sized to what we believe our landfill requires, and also the frequency of the trucks coming in to our site, so the peak demand usage.
Thank you, Mr Bond. I'm happy to set the officer's recommendation. Tanner H520. Just see that they devalue so quick. That's amazing. Like 10% devaluation every year or something like that, or greater. But I'm guessing who wants a second-hand, worn-out compactor? But something that we've got to have, and this one seems to fit the bill. I'm sure I've gone through the proper process of procurement, so I'm happy to accept the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I second Councillor Vogel's things. We do like our big machinery, us boys, and it seems to squash down things. The only problem I have with it is actually the fact that we're getting so much waste in our landfill. Surely there can be a lot more recycling done with some of the stuff, and it doesn't always need to be there. And this is a problem. We're just a throwaway society now, and unfortunately, and we need these machines to smash it down into the ground, and there it stays for the next God knows how long. But it's more than happy to move it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commentary? Councillor Beard, come on. Do one for the girls.
No, too much to go. We all like the big toys.
We'd like to have a dry.
Yeah, we like to. No, what more can I add? No, it's fine.
So I can ask Mr Bond one more question, is relating to Councillor Cole's question, is why do we get more and more landfill every year when there's more recycling and more circular economy and more sustainability and more everything else, yet the landfill gets more and more tonnage every year? If you explain that one for us.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor.
30 seconds.
So the landfill actually has additional customers coming to the site that rather than the traditional customers coming with more waste, we're actually seeing a reduction in those volumes, but additional customers coming to the site that previously, due to their business model, may have been travelling to other sites to dispose of their materials. So it's, people are doing great work in reducing their waste volumes, but at this site, as a regional site, we do take waste from other municipalities as well.
So it seems we are the number one choice for where to bring your rubbish. That's not good, is it? Righto, thank you.
Thank you, councillor Vogels. If there's no other further commentary, I'll put it all to a vote. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. I'm up to item 9.4, and I think councillor Beard, you have a conflict on this one, please.
I'm just going to go.
Yeah, you're fine, take your time. Point 4, contract 2025-012, service of landfill water quality and landfill gas monitoring for the Corangamite Regional Landfill at Narrabeen and the closed landfill at Noorat. Mr Bond.
Thank you, and through you again, Madam Mayor, the report seeks council to award a contract for landfill water quality monitoring and landfill gas monitoring at both Corangamite Regional Landfill and the closed Noorat landfill. These sites are managed in accordance with EPA requirements and have specific monitoring programs to ensure there are no impacts from the current and past use of the sites as landfills. The current contract has been in place for 5 years and has been updated on an annual basis as required by third-party auditors and changing EPA requirements. The contract being awarded tonight will ensure council can report annually and also to external auditors and provide evidence of the monitoring program and trends in groundwater and gas activity on those sites over time. The tender was advertised between the 15th of May and the 5th of June. At the closing of the tender submissions, there were 8 submissions received. All of these submissions were then assessed by a panel. At the conclusion of the assessment, it was determined by the panel that Ventia Utility Services provides the best value and highest service offering for this contract. Councillors, the recommendations before you.
Thank you, Mr Bond. Councillor, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogel,
So
second.
may I ask Mr Bond a question without notice and while picking on him and stuff?
Yeah, sure, go.
So landfill gas. Now I remember we went out there were some guys that were putting pipes in and stuff. We're going to take the landfill gas and at this stage we're going to burn it so that it doesn't go into the environment as methane. But where is that at? Because I don't think that I've heard that it's been finalised unless I haven't been listening properly.
Mr.
Thank
Bond?
you. Through you, Madam Mayor. So the landfill gas contract that was signed has been implemented and we are extracting gas from both the old landfill cells and also new landfill cells. It's still in its infancy. However, the flaring is operating at the moment and we are receiving monthly reports. There is still some work to do in expanding that infrastructure as we cap further cells. However, it is currently operational and being assessed for its efficiency.
Well done. We're already ticking boxes in the sustainability. Thank you. So I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Do I have a seconder for that one, please? Councillor Castrain?
Yes, I'll second it.
Oh, okay, righty. I was waiting for another question to come firing
Well,
at
I'm
me.
glad to ask another question.
Councillor Vogels, did you want to talk to the recommendation?
No, I think this is just an EPA requirement, so procedural, and happy to move the officer's recommendation.
Okay, Councillor Castrain?
Thank you. Question, Mr Bond, without notice, but he's doing so well. We'll keep going, councillor Vogels, till we can trip him up on something, but this won't be it. In the report, Mr Bond talk about that the sites need to be continued to be monitored until such time that an EPA appointed auditor concludes the landfills no longer pose a risk. How long does that generally take? I'm wondering about where we are up to with Noorat.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor again. So it's typically worked on a 30-year review period. We are working though on reducing the monitoring required at Noorat at this stage, as there has been no indications of contamination. Under the new legislation created by EPA in the last couple of years, the general environmental duty, however, for councils in particular, is never extinguished. So therefore, if there is an issue detected at some stage, council has a liability to rectify that issue to the satisfaction of the EPA. However, the short answer is, until there's a noticeable pattern over 30 years where there's no impact.
Okay, so we're in it for the long haul, and once again, it's a cost to the landfill and the users. And, you know, the monies that we do pay, millions of dollars into the landfill levy, we're not seeing a lot of it coming back. And it would be great to see some of these monitoring costs, particularly at the very least, being covered by that levy, Madam Mayor. Thank you. I'm happy to second.
No worries, Councillor Castrain. Any other commentary? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Can we get Councillor B back in? Thank you. So I move on to item 9.5, Crystal Estate Stage 1 Civil Works Tender Assessment and Contract. Mr Moy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, I present council with this report for the civil works contract associated with Trestle Estate Stage 1. Council is currently delivering Trestle Estate Stage 1, which involves the creation of 8 residential lots and associated infrastructure on Curtis Road in Timboon. The land has been rezoned, a planning permit is in place, and the subdivision has also been certified. Tenders have been subsequently sought from civil contractors for the delivery of Stage 1 civil construction works. The tender package itself incorporates 6 separable portions to be completed as part of this package. A tender process has been undertaken and 10 individual tenders have been received by council which have been evaluated by a tender panel. Panel members have assessed the tenders in detail in accordance with council's procurement policy, and it is considered that the best overall value for council is provided from the conforming tender submitted by Otway Civil for a price of $690,979 excluding GST. The Otway Civil price is within the project budget and represents a positive financial outcome, whilst it will also see the project move towards lot construction and delivery, enabling future new homes to be built in Timboon. The recommendation is provided before you.
Thank you, Mr Moyne. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. How good is this? So key milestones from the planning and delivery side of the works have been accomplished, including certification of plan and subdivision, endorsement of engineering plans, removal of the existing house native vegetation, site clearing works. And this will be the next step as we move towards completion of Stage 1. And this tender is to engage a suitably qualified and experienced contractor for the construction of earthworks, road drainage, water reticulation, sewer and associated works for the unlocking of Timboon Trestle Estate Stage 1. 9 tenders submitted the price for a complete package of works. All tenders were deemed to be conforming, and the tenders, they're all experienced contractors. It is considered that the value for money is best achieved by conforming tender submitted by Otway Civil Proprietary Limited, and I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation. And I'd also like to congratulate our team who have been hard at it, working behind the scenes to keep this project on track, and our community members who have given their time and input into this project as has gone along so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, as Councillor Vogel has said, it certainly is a very exciting project that Council has undertaken to deliver residential lots in Timboon, and we certainly have, there has been an incredible amount of work done to bring us to Stage 1. We're ready for some civil works to occur on the site. I thought it was good to see that we had 10 tenders for this contract, and so that, you know, it's obviously a good level of interest. But I did quite like noting in the report that even the tenderer who's been recommended, there was further consultation undertaken with that tenderer to get some detail in relation to their application. So that gave me great confidence in the rigour of the evaluation. And, you know, when you read through the report and read through the process of the evaluation and the kinds of expectations that are put out to the tenderers, I think you can see that there's a lot of care taken in making these evaluations and recommendations and in managing the budget for the project. So I'm very happy to support this recommendation, and I thank the officers who have put all this effort into this project to date.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Is there any other commentary? I'd like to say thank you to the staff as well. I chair the community reference group and we're all very excited about this tender going forward. It actually shows a little bit of work being happening down there, such as the infrastructure, such as the curb and channeling, the footpaths and the sewerage and the stormwater and everything else, as both my previous councillors have listed already. But it just shows as this project is still going forward, and with all these infrastructures going in, I think it makes it more appealing for buyers to look at and have a go and actually see where the lots are going. So it's a great milestone for the project and I congratulate everyone involved. And I know the working group were very excited to hear that this was coming forward. So well done, congratulations. And I look forward to hopefully, fingers crossed, near the end of the year, we might see it all sort of nearly completed. So hopefully we'll have some unveiling happening at the end of the year. So that'll be great. If there's no other commentary, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. I'm up to item 9.6, authorise the CEO to approve variation to contract 2023-014 curbside collection services. Mr Bond.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor, this report is a procedural report which seeks to authorise the CEO to approve variations to the curbside collection contract. This will allow the contract to be delivered efficiently over the remaining part of its term. Council awarded the contract for curbside collections in February 2023 and provided for the approval of CPI increases and consideration of future extensions of that contract by the CEO. However, at the time, it did not allow for the delegated ability of the CEO to approve variations. Due to changing commodity prices for materials used in plastic bin production and the need to meet the new service standards required by state government, Council now needs to be able to consider and implement contract variations over the remaining life of the contract. The report therefore seeks approval for the CEO to consider contract variations within the CEO's financial delegation and the requirements of the Council procurement policy. This will ensure that the contract can be delivered smoothly and also allow the community to access those new services. Councillors, the recommendation is before you.
Thank you, Mr Bond. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Castrain, do I have a seconder? Councillor Kennedy, Councillor Castrain.
Nothing, it's fairly procedural, Madam Mayor, happy for it to go through.
Councillor Kennedy.
And nothing from me either, thank you.
If there's no other commentary on it, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. I'll move on to item 9.7, Plan for Victoria and Draft Housing Target Submissions. Mr Moyne.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, I present Council with this report on the Plan for Victoria and Draft Housing Targets. The Department of Transport and Planning are currently undertaking public consultation on a new plan for Victoria and draft housing targets. The Victorian Government has committed to delivering a new statewide strategic land use plan, which has arisen through Victoria's housing statement, identifying the need for long-term integrated strategic planning for the state until 2050. The housing statement also establishes a housing target of 2.24 million homes in Victoria by 2051, including 425,600 within the regions, in which a draft housing target of 1,300 new dwellings by 2051 has been released for Corangamite Shire. No supporting information or explanation has been provided around the target itself. A draft council submission has been prepared. The submission acknowledges the need to prepare a plan and deliver long-term strategic planning outcomes, and also highlights that Corangamite Shire is well positioned to capitalise on future investment, growth and development opportunities. However, a one-size-fits-all approach is problematic and does not reflect the regional and metropolitan differences. The submission notes that the consultation process, plan and draft targets lack substance and has significantly restricted Council's ability to constructively analyse and provide feedback due to an absence of information and engagement. The submission goes into significant detail and covers off on overarching comments for Council, Council's strategic focus and response to the draft Corangamite housing targets. Making a submission and involvement in both the plan and housing targets is critical for Council in representing its interests, strategic priorities and issues, along with the practical implications of policy direction and commitments on both Council and the wider community. It's fundamental that council utilise this opportunity and remain involved in this process to provide input and raise issues of interest to Corangamite Shire. The recommendations provided before you.
Thank you, Mr Moyne. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Castrain. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady, Councillor Castrain.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I don't think there's any debate needed that Victoria needs some strategic planning in this area. But as Mr Moyne has mentioned, it shouldn't be one size fits all when combining large growth metro councils with small rurals. I think that the rural communities need to be supported by regional plans. It'll be important that the success of the plan will come down to an effective delivery and governance regime that recognises the unique and diverse landscapes and cityscapes of Victoria. Council should have the ability to implement actions at a local level, but not with the risk of cost shifting. A particular focus in our submission is the need to protect our agricultural land, which we've discussed already this evening, the lack of strategic planning framework around renewable infrastructure, the need for a fit and safe road network, and the impact of the windfall gains tax and rezoning land for housing. I congratulate Mr Moyne and his team for putting together this submission. I think it's very important that we have our say, so well done.
Thank you, Councillor Castrain. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I do have some similar sentiments to those that Councillor Castrain has just spoken to. To me, it does seem incredible that the apparent approach from Plan Vic is a one size fits all. I think, we all know that there are very specific differences and characteristics of rural and regional Victoria from those of the metro areas, and they absolutely need to be recognised. It really is frustrating too that the state has provided such limited information and engagement in our communities to inform proper analysis and constructive feedback. I think we will find that the final documents from Plan Vic and VHS will have very significant impact in Corangamite if their planning framework fails to adequately consider the rural and regional context. And for that reason, I think this submission is incredibly important for Corangamite. We do need to have specific focus on strategic planning in rural and regional Victoria, there's no doubt of that. And we need thorough background information and proper explanation of what the VHS means for Corangamite. I too am grateful and really proud of the extra effort that our team made in deepening their research and producing such a comprehensive and well thought through submission, which raises 10 points of strategic focus for Corangamite. Some of that focus including the protection of productive agricultural land, food security and the energy transition, which we are going to be deeply affected by. So thank you for preparing the submission. It's really well done and I support the recommendation before us.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Is there any other commentary? Councillor Beard.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and to be honest, I wasn't going to say too much because Councillor Castrain and Councillor Canady have both said enough, but I don't know, I'm going to take this opportunity and just say if anyone gets a chance to read this submission through the agenda, it's 8 pages long, which is significant for a submission that's been written by Mr Moyne under the signature of our CEO, but that is on the back of no consultation whatsoever with regional areas like ours in local government. So that's on the fact that you've had to go and source that information yourself, Mr Moyne, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for doing that. I want to highlight too that in a few weeks' time we're going to be down in Melbourne on various advocacy, sharing our priorities and doing our advocacy like we do on a yearly basis, and certainly this will be one of the conversations we'll be having, whether it's a conversation or a they sit there and listen, or we sit there and we don't get much attention with Plan for Victoria, but we'll be certainly doing all we can to be heard. I think it's well worth mentioning that, and it has certainly come up in the submission, that often as rural Victorians we're an afterthought, and I think that was the wording that you actually used, Mr Moyne, so you're getting stronger in your submissions, but and this isn't something I would normally say, but I think when you talk to our constituents, we're getting jack of it. Like, we're actually not always at the forefront when it comes to, particularly when it comes to growth capabilities in Victoria. I mean, why does it always have to be in the metropolitan areas? We're open for business. We've got capabilities within our communities to grow. We have got potential, so why are we not being included in the conversations right at the forefront? And I think that's the strength of this submission is probably been alluded to in a nicer way than what I may have made a headline with just then with what I said. But it's true, and I think we need to be consistent around our messaging, which I do believe is consistent with the messaging from the MAV, and I'm looking at our MAV representative through your Council Australian, that what's being said here is what's being said at that state level too, that rural and regional Victorians in local government need to be thought more of and engaged more with, because it can't just be one size fits all, as Councillor Canady said, when it comes to anything that happens in our state, because we are so different to our metropolitan counterparts, and even the likes of a Warrnambool and a Geelong, our regional cities, they're completely different to us as well. So why are we all put in the same bucket when anything is engaged with? So there's my 2 bobs worth for the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Any other commentary? Can I just say, my fellow councillors, you've said everything that I was going to say. So, and I just would like to say that I just don't want Corangamite Shire to be left as an afterthought. We need to be part of this plan and we need to be involved in it. Being left as an afterthought is not great for us as a community or a shire going forward. So I congratulate Mr. Moyne and your team for this submission. It is really strong, it is really precise, and it's exactly what we need. And yes, we will be going down to Melbourne to advocate what we think is the best for Corangamite, and we'll be definitely putting it in the faces of those ministers that are responsible for this, because ultimately we don't get a second chance at this, and we need to be loud and we need to be proud of what Corangamite have in front of us, and we need to be at the table and we need to be consulted. And at the moment we don't feel like we're being consulted, we feel like we're being left behind and left out in the dark. So invite us to the table and make us feel welcome at that table. So if there's no other commentary, Councillor Cole, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've just got one comment to say really is we get, as I keep saying about one size fits all, but out here in the country we're the second part of the one size fits all, because we don't get all the facilities and things that they have down in the bigger towns, and so it's not one size fits all. It fits them but it doesn't fit us. Quite regularly with a lot of things, services, etc., we just get left behind with all these things. So yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Cole.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. I hate to be left out. Everyone else has had a crack, and everyone's covered pretty much everything. So well done, councillors, and this is extremely important to get to government. One thing I will notice, they've chucked in there, and this is throwing a dartboard. Throwing a dart at a dartboard, because they 50 dwellings a year for Corangamite Shire, and it looks like we knock out 50 dwellings a year anyway. And what's the point of extra dwellings if not for extra population? And with their 50 extra dwellings every year, what's their population in Corangamite increasing by? Or zero. It's not increasing. I think it's going backwards, isn't it? So building more houses doesn't potentially house more people. It just builds more houses. So food for thought.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. If there's no other commentary, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So we'll move on to item 9.8, Council Grant Programs for 2024-2025. Now, this will be a revolving door as the recommendation comes to us. So, Mr. Bond, I'll pass it over to you first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, my final report tonight seeks approval for a range of applications under Council's 2024-2025 grant program. The 5 grant programs include the community grants, the enabling grants, facilities grants, environment grants, and the events and festivals grants. It should be noted that this is the first year the events and festivals grants have been divided into 2 streams with different funding amounts. This new stream system is in recognition of the different types of events that our community wish to undertake, and also maximises how council can support them to deliver those programs. Council's grants programs provide financial assistance and or in-kind support to community groups, not-for-profit organisations, committees of management and commercial organisations located within the Corangamite Shire. All grant programs are delivered in accordance with Council's overarching grants policy. The combined pool of money available for this year's grants program is $220,000. The criteria and financial contributions required for each program does differ. However, each program has been developed to meet specific requirements of our community and our community needs. At the conclusion of the 6-week application process, the assessment panels reviewed each grant application and have come up with a recommendation for council to fund 100 applications to a total combined funding amount of $221,102.60 across the 5 grant programs. Councillors, the recommendations are before you.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. So we're going to do these in blocks. So first off, Councillor Gastrain has a conflict in the first 2 blocks that we're going to decide on. So Councillor Gastrain, if we could ask you to leave the room, that would be great. Sorry, I've got an
Madam
updated
Mayor.
report here.
No, that's okay. I'm got a conflict of interest as an ambassador at the Camperdown Courthouse, and also that the applicants for Luton Dairy are family friends.
Thank you. Thank you for stating that, Councillor Gastrain. Appreciate it. So we're doing item 1 and 2, so allocate funds of $2,000 to the following community grant application, which is the Courthouse Camperdown Incorporated for $2,000. And number 2 is allocate funds of $3,000 to the following grant applicant, which is the Luton Dairy Proprietary Limited for native shelter bells.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
sorry, I think my conflict is in this first section as well.
We're going through in blocks, so I've got an updated list here. We're
I'll beg your pardon.
we're doing them all in blocks, so I'll ask you to leave the room a little bit later, but we're just doing Councillor Gastrain's conflicts first, so we'll do her and then we'll move on. So, yes, Councillor
I'm
Beard,
happy to move the recommendations of 1 and 2.
rightio, seconder. Councillor Vogels, all those in favour? So we'll leave the commentary till the end, is that okay? Happy with that, councillors? Rightio.
Unless it relates to the recommendation of the conflict.
Yep, Brett.
Yeah.
Thank you. So item 3 was on the agenda because Councillor Hickey had a conflict, but he's not here. So item 3 is allocate funds of $2,842 to the following environment grant application, which is BG and KL Bridges demonstrating sustainable farming. So are we happy for, could I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Gastrain, Councillor Canady is the seconder. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Councillor Cole, can I ask you to leave the room, please? Great. So number 4 is to allocate funds of $3,000 in-kind funding to the following event and festival grant application, which is the Camperdown Pastoral and Agricultural Society at the Camperdown Show. Can I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Canady, the seconder. Councillor Gastrain, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you. What are you two giggling for? Can I have Councillor Cole back in and Councillor Beard, can you leave the room, please?
Yes, and like Councillor Gastrain, I'll just state that I've got a conflict of interest because the Cobden Cricket Club, my beautiful son is, which he will hate me now for saying, is a committee member of the cricket club.
Thank you so much for stating that. Councillor Beard,
I'm embarrassed.
don't go too far.
Waiting for Councillor Cole.
Oh, right. Still waiting for Councillor Cole to enter into the room too. Right.
Oh, yeah, you-
Have you not told them? I thought they did.
you want to make coffee?
Radio, so item 5 is allocate funds of $3,000 to the following environment grant application, which is the the Cobden, Cricket Club for water tanks at the Rec Reserve. Can I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels, can I have a seconder? Councillor Cole, all those in favour? Carried. We can ask Councillor Beard back into the room, please. Can I ask Councillor Canady to leave the room, please?
And my conflict is because I have family members on the committee.
Of the Nurut show. Yep. So number 6 is allocate funds of $2,100 and an additional fee waiver of $900 to the following event and festival grant, which is the Nurut District Ag and Pastoral Society, which is the Nurut Show. Can I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole, can I have a seconder? Councillor Beard, all those in favour? Carried, thank you. Can you ask Councillor Canady to come back, and Councillor Vogels, can you leave the room, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a conflict for the H3 horse trials because I let them use my land for their H3 horse trials,
Thank you.
eventing and jumping and everything.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. So number 7 is allocate funds of $3,000 to the following event and festival grant application, which is the HB Pony Club for the HB horse trials. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady. Do I have all those in favour? Sorry, I'm losing my words. Thank you very much. Jamie. Councillor Vogels, can you come back? I have a conflict to the next one, so Councillor Castrain, can you please chair the next part of the meeting? I have a conflict because Jay and A Poundsdeer are good family friends as well.
Councillor, there's recommendation to allocate funds of $3,000 to J and A Pousty for native shelter belts. Someone like to move that, please? Councillor Cole, do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Beard. All those in favour?
Should we drag it out?
Or we could do. Carried. I'll have to put in a bit more rub.
Did you wish you were back?
Said we'd drag it out.
Oh, you could have.
Madam Mayor, I forgot to say that my conflict of interest was in the Camperdown Pastoral Agriculture Show. My son is on the committee there.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Cole. So now I move on to number 9, which is allocate funds of $56,346 to the following community grant applications, which are listed there, which is all the other ones that we don't have conflicts in. Am I doing the whole? Do you want to do this in section?
You can vote on part 9 through to
The end.
10, 11,
13.
12, 13?
13.
All right, so I'll just read out the subheadings. Is that fair? Is that what we want? Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So number 9, number 10, allocate funds of $20,000 to the following enabling grant applications. Number 11 is allocate funds of $45,300 to the following facility grant applications. Number 12 is allocate funds of $35,514.20 to the following environment grant applications. And 13 is allocate funds of $38,500 as cash contributions plus $3,500 as in-kind council support for the following events and festivals grant application, alongside an additional $4,400 of fee waivers. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of stuff. Right, so there's a bit of recommendations in front of you, councillors. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole, do I have a seconder for that one? Councillor Beard. Councillor Cole, would you like to speak to these recommendations, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The list is very comprehensive. It covers most parts of the Shire and supports a lot of great initiatives going on. But it's all sorts of things. There's purchasing a laptop, there's Christmas on Apex in various, it's all different places right across the Shire. Goalpost netting planning in Timburn, South Parrambeet, reinstating a community cricket pitch, disabled toilets, in Skipton, pet waste bag dispensers in Skipton, many different, right, as I said, right across the Shire. So I have no problem moving this.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Beard?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think each year when we do our budget, I don't know, we've always been really committed to the grants program. We're very proud of this program. Other than our budget, it is one of the areas where we actually get to give back to the community, meaning our ratepayers. And at times not asking for much in return. Sometimes there's no matching amount of dollars, and then sometimes there is. But to consider that there's over 100 applicants that go through this grant application process, it's exciting. Some of these community groups and volunteer groups, I mean, this is a big deal to them. So we don't want to be too flippant about what we're doing and what our role is here, but to be able to continue to roll out this grant funding. And I think we've only got better as the years have gone by in terms of the amount of money that we commit, but also in the way that we make sure we're being fair. We probably review the policy, I think, every year, because we seem to think, oh, we find something else, or we need to get better at that. But all that comes down to is being equal, and we want the best for our ratepayers. So again, we say it every year, this is one of the best things we get to do. But you can really see on the ground the small amount of money that often we contribute back, the big difference that makes. So great to be part of contributing in this way. Thank you.
Any other commentary? Councillor Vogels?
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. I think it's good that we utilise surplus funds from grants that aren't fully committed to prop up some of the other ones that are overcommitted. So I think that's a good thing that we can keep doing as well.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Any other commentary? Can I just say that, as Councillor Beard said, for 100 community and individual projects will share in over 220,000 from Corangamite Shire through this grants program, which is fantastic. And it's one of the most valuable ways we can support our communities. And I just shows with the conflict of interest that we had going through there, how embedded we are in our communities and how much we support our communities. So it's fabulous that so many people are proactive and volunteer their time to make communities a great place to live. And I look forward to seeing these projects being delivered in the next 12 months and making sure they all get up and going. But it just shows what we are giving back to our community and how invested we are in our community. So well done to everyone who's been successful. Remember to keep a lookout for the next one in 12 months' time and make sure you put your applications in. So the recommendations before us is, can I have a vote? All those in favour, please. Carried. Thank you very much. Can I please move on to 9.9, the Berry Bank Wind Farm Grants Program, round 3. And I think, Councillor Canady, you have a conflict on this one too.
Yes, and that conflict relates to the application from Terrain Aged Care Pictures.
Thank you. So I move on to 9.9, Berry Bank Wind Farm Grants Program, round 3. Miss Lindley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Berry Bank Wind Farm Community Grants Program provides opportunities for Corangamite community groups to apply for funding for larger local beneficial projects within 75 kilometres of the Berry Bank construction site. These opportunities build on existing and prospective grant funding opportunities delivered through the community benefit programs of operational and proposed wind farm projects. Community interest in round 3 of the program, building on the extraordinary level shown in the first round, has seen an increase of a total of 6 grant submissions received for the leverage grants, representing a total request of $255,299 to fund the projects, and 17 applications were received for the Berry Bank Wind Farm project grants stream, requesting a total of $329,214. In practice, some applications have had to be shifted across the 2 different streams in the program, but this represents an ask in all, an overall ask of $584,513. Very precise.
It is.
So the Berry Bank Wind Farm Community Grants Committee, and there is a committee associated with this grant program that has external members on it, has assessed the applications in accordance with the program and stream criteria. The applications recommended for round 3 by the committee are for the Lismore Cemetery Trust Cemetery Improvements Program, the Lismore Land Protection Group, Restoring Connectivity and Non-Farm Biodiversity, the Derrinellum Yacht and Powerboat Club for the purchase of a new outboard motor, the Derrinellum Bowling Club for the installation of solar panels, the Lismore Bowls Club for clubhouse repairs, the Western Plains Mobile Preschool Outdoor Seating, Storage and Watering Shed, and the Camperdown Girl Guides replacement of windows on the guide wall. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Lindley. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Cole. Do I have a seconder for that one, please? Councillor Beard. Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Yeah, it's that time of the year again where the allocation's up, and this year is 65,195 from GPG Berry Bank Wind Farm, and thank you very much. These grants help a lot, doing small things in the community that are big for them. Next year it will be $100,000. It's been a staged increase in funds, and next year will be fair bit more. So look forward to getting more grants. And as we said, there's 65 kilometres within the area, basically along the Hamilton Highway. We want grants, and we want people to pencil it in and put their application in when the grant opens up for next year. So I have no trouble in moving this. It would make the community very happy along the highway.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Beard?
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you. I think when you say each time it's come before us, and I think this is our second or third?
Round three.
Thank you. Round three, thank you. It's always oversubscribed, and I think when you think about the 65 kilometre radius, that's what's going to take in a fair chunk of Corangamite Shire. So it's great to see that communities aren't necessarily directly in the line of sight, or I don't want to say impacted, but definitely in that line of sight of those wind towers are actually still, you know, acknowledged to be able to have a go at this grant application. So good on them, stick at it. I think it comes down to why we say how important it is that the renewable energy companies, I mean, there's some that are legislated that they have to have a significant kickback into the communities as part of their what's the wording I'm looking for? Social justice, thank you. Some do it really well, some don't even have to do it very well, but it just goes to show that when they are done well and it's significant, we've already had, you know, Councillor Cole say thank you. So it kind of, I guess it makes it a bit more palatable when you know that you're actually getting something back out of it, as opposed to, I think the solar farms certainly don't have to put as much in terms of percentages. We talk about earlier, you know, we were discussing about our plantations. They don't put much back into the community either. So even though we kind of sometimes get stuck with it, there is a way that it can be socially more acceptable if there's a let's meet halfway. So to see that they are giving back to the community and they're going to be increasing that in the next 12 months, then as I said, it just makes it that little bit easier to digest. So thank you again to the company for doing that.
Thanks, Councillor Beard. Is there any other commentary? If not, I put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried, thank you. Can we get Councillor Canady back in? I'll move on to item 9.10, Business Assistance Scheme July Grants. Ms Lindley, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Business Assistance Scheme provides business, building owners and community the opportunity to apply for support, including financial assistance. Applications are assessed on merit, considering the eligibility criteria and available funds, and are received on a rolling basis. For July, one application has been received under the Stream 2, Creative Industries and Placemaking. This application has been assessed against the criteria, and the proposal is from A for Atlas, Dining Room Tales, for their August program for the amount of $2,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Lindley. Councillors, there's a recommendation before you. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Canady. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Castrain. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the Business Assistance Scheme has been an immensely popular grant program, and so many community organisations have benefited from that over the years. So I really love how this scheme builds capacity and supports innovation and enterprise in our communities, and that's the intent of it, and I think that's exactly what it's doing. And it's so encouraging for our businesses and creatives to know that this kind of support is available. I completely support this particular recommendation, because I don't know if anyone's been to Dining Room Tales, but it's really, they're really fun and really different kind of entertainment, and it's really terrific that the Business Assistance Scheme can support that kind of innovation within the Shire, apart from all of the others. So I'm very pleased that we're able to support our community through these grants. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Is there any other commentary? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Move on to item 9.11, Camperdown Sale Yards. Ms Finley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council is the landholder of the Camperdown Regional Livestock Selling Centre, which is located at 71 Camperdown, Lismore Road in Camperdown. The area is Industrial 1 zone and has been operating as a livestock selling centre, truck wash and associated admin under lease to a private sector leaseholder, CRLX. On Tuesday, the 11th of June this year, the leaseholder submitted in writing their intention to exit the lease and to conduct a final sale, which was held on Tuesday, the 25th of June. Councillors and officers met with agents, livestock transport operators and other parties to gauge their level of interest and to provide an opportunity to raise issues and to put forward ideas for the use of the site following the announcement by CRLX. And subsequently, Council sought preliminary expressions of interest for the use of the land in whole or in part, and those expressions of interest closed on the 1st of July with only one submission received. That submission outlined a potential use of the site for a monthly sales and farmers market alongside sales for meat processing opportunities. There are, notwithstanding that we only received one submission, there are a number of options available to Council as the leaseholder continues to decant from the site during their 90-day notice period. These options include holding further discussions with the sole submitter to establish the feasibility and sustainability of his proposal before Council makes a decision, or Council may also consider investing in the development of a business case feasibility for the operation of a truck wash facility and or a holding and stock transfer area. Alternatively, Council may make the decision now to decline to pursue sale yard and related activity at the site and instead, as part of the structure plan process for Camperdown and Terang, include the sale yard site for specific consideration, that is, review zoning, potential uses, overlays and buffers, noting that a partial review of the site has already occurred as part of the development of the Camperdown Production Precinct project and also the industrial land review that we've completed earlier. With regard to the truck wash, there may be another more suitable site in Camperdown or another town in the Shire for a commercial truck wash that would better meet the needs of livestock transport businesses, farmers, as well as meeting EPA and biosecurity requirements at a lesser cost. The officer's recommendation is before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Linley. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Vogels, and the second is Councillor Canady. Councillor Vogels.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. I think it's sort of a sad day for the Camperdown sale yards, but the declining numbers and stuff. It's on the cards, so make a clean break. I think you'll go with the officer's recommendation that we put this up for the Terang and Camperdown structure plan for seeing what we can do with the site. The one expressions of interest, it was a good idea. It would be really, really good to have it happen, but it's not financially feasible. It's just not a viable option. The truck wash is only there because of the sale yards were there. If there was to be a truck wash continue somewhere, I'm pretty sure that's not the space for it. That somewhere else in the Shire or located elsewhere. But if it was to happen, I think that is a full responsibility of Agriculture Victoria, because it's a biosecurity issue as why you would run a truck wash. And I think more so that would be a one and water, working with AgVic and Council, all three together without cost shifting onto Council as everyone seems to like to do. So that's where I'm at the moment. So I think we go with the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. Councillor Canady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the exit of CRLX has certainly brought a big change to this site. I know we sort of, in a sense, sort of had any indications that there was going to be a change on that site, and of course it's happened now. I think, yes, it certainly was worthwhile to investigate the EOI process, but that hasn't revealed a substantive long-term option for the use there. So I think there's just no alternative but to sort of to further investigate future use for the site. It needs to be a really well researched investigation because we need to make the right decision about future use for the sale yard site, and it could be a very, very important decision for Camperdown. So I certainly support the recommendation before us.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Is there any other commentary? Councillor Castrain?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with Councillor Canady and Councillor Vogels. I think that the submission that was put forward through the EOI process, I don't think that that is feasible in the long term or even the medium term. I think that we really need to bite the bullet and have the site after the 25th of September when CRLX have to have it vacated, you know, and we begin the Camperdown and Terang structure plan work that becomes part of that work into looking into the future uses and potential uses of that site. With regards to the truck wash, I'd certainly like to see some investigation done. It is I think 3 months we've got between the yards being closed and we retaining the yards. We're looking at a $5,000 trade waste agreement with One and Water for every month, which is substantial, $60,000 a year. And we have no data on the existing truck wash about the amount of income that it does make. So I imagine it would have to be fairly well subsidised by the council. But in saying that, we've said several times, if not more tonight, about how important agriculture and security of agriculture is to our shire. So I'd certainly encourage the CEO to look at the feasibility of a commercial truck wash elsewhere in the shire.
Thank you, Councillor Castrain.
Thank you.
Any other commentary? Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. Yeah, it's a bit of a sad day at Camperdown. I can remember sitting in the old sale yards in the Rotunda, my father and grandfather, and I can also remember cheap yards in Darlington, Darrenelm and Lismore. Unfortunately, the way things have gone, all these yards are now gone, and Camperdown's second incarnation down where they are now is now going. So the local community sale yards are basically a thing of the past, and it's going to big corporates, which is a bit worrying for me in a lot of ways, being regionalised and corporatised. But the main thing that I've had expressed to me most is the truck wash and the facilities and the ability to wash out regularly. And for us now, carting, because not all stock go via the sale yards, they go between farms and various other places, and they need to wash out. And sometimes the round trip to wash their trucks can be a considerable amount, over 100 kilometres, which is not very economical if there's not a decent truck wash in an area. Trucks are trooping around the countryside dirty, and it's uneconomical, and it's also a biosecurity hazards. With the truck wash is one of the important things. It's been expressed to me a lot by different people. So anyway, we're on this, so we'll have to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Beard?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, and just to add a bit of context for anyone who's listening at home is we didn't just roll over with this. We were just as disappointed as everybody else when we got word that Sarah Alex were vacating, I guess, the lease. I want to thank fellow councillors, but also the leadership team, Mr. Owen, the executive leadership team, to actually going down the EOI process. We didn't have to do that, but we had pretty much a crisis meeting with the stock agents as soon as we could, and we were guided by them. So I think we need to put into context that we did try. It wasn't something that we've just sat around a table and decided, oh, this is too hard. We actually did what we thought was the right thing to do under guidance of those that have been using it up until now. And to the officers, thank you for being part of that process, because we didn't know what was going to roll up for us, I guess. And it doesn't mean the site's completely finished with. We just don't know what's going to be the best use for that site. But we also have to be mindful of how much it costs us as an organisation if we continue to just leave it the way it is too. And not only were we going to be carrying significant costs, but there was also risk and liabilities around that, which, that all unravels as you go through the finer detail. You know, Councillor Castrain, you said about how much it costs even just with one and water for the truck wash. So they're all the sort of things that we had to unpack and get a real understanding of what it means to have it either the way it is, not being used, mothballed, or potentially now what's the options going forward. So they're the things we're now got to work through once we get that site back after it's been vacated, which that won't occur till the 25th of September. So until then, we have to continue on the path forward, but unfortunately times just aren't going to be what they used to be as we all used to know it. So it is a shame, but when you talk to the agents and the farmers, the writing was on the wall when the Mortlake yards were taken over by the same company that ran Camperdown. So unfortunately, that was probably a bit of a dagger for us. But I think we did the right thing back in the day when we decided to lease it to them, because we knew they had the capabilities to make it the best it could be. So we had the right agenda. Unfortunately, with the Mortlake yards, the way they were playing out, it just got us in the end. But thanks to the council for supporting and going as far as we did with it, I think.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Vogel?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So from all reports, since it's been shut for a few rotations now, cattle are going to Mortlake, Camperdown, straight to midfields or Greenhams or wherever. But they're getting increased prices going to Colac. There's extra buyers than there was at Camperdown. There was only 2 left, and it didn't shut down because people were sending their stock through there. It's shut down because people were sending their stock elsewhere than through Camperdown, and that reduced the numbers to a point where it's not viable to run it. So that's pretty much why it's happening, because people weren't totally utilising it. So I think it's sad, but it's not tragic or the end of the world. It's cattle are going elsewhere.
Thank you, Councillor Vogels. There's no other commentary. I put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. I move on to item 9.12, the ALGA National General Assembly 2024 report on attendance. Mr. Ray.
Mayor, thank you. And through you, councillors, the Mayor, Councillor Hickey and Councillor Kennedy, along with myself, attended the Australian Local Government Association National General Assembly in Canberra early July, and effectively for a full week covering, I guess, a range of topics throughout that week. It started with the Regional Cooperation Development Forum, into the Congress itself, and then on the Friday closing with the Australian Council of Local Government. I won't necessarily dive into the conference itself in great detail. That's sort of detailed in the report. But the conference was also an opportunity for councils to advocate on behalf of its communities, of its community on matters that's particularly important, and including such issues as housing, communications, childcare, and so forth. Again, those conversations are mentioned in the report. And so the recommendation this evening, councillors, is for you to receive the report on the attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one? Councillor Kennedy. Do I have a seconder for that one, considering Councillor Hickey's not here?
Councillor Coles.
Councillor Cole, thank you very much. Councillor Hickey, Councillor Kennedy, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You would have all read the report, and it does certainly cover all the activities of the NGA that we just attended. And, we know from previous experience that it certainly is a valuable opportunity for networking and advocacy. And we certainly did a lot of that. And we were very busy meeting with politicians. We had, quite a list of them. And certainly that element of it is very, very important, because we need to keep reminding the politicians of the issues that are pertinent to Corangamite. Just continue our messaging, because, eventually it does resonate at some point. Well, we would hope that we certainly have had that experience in the past. The other thing that's interesting too is, when talking with other councillors that are present at the Assembly, you do find that many LGAs have very similar issues to ourselves. Certainly the ones that were foremost were the ones that we see mostly, roads, childcare, housing and workforce. But in addition to that, quite often in our conversations, you can learn something new and, you can come across new ideas and, maybe some of those ideas can be very useful for ourselves. So, yes, I support the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Canady. Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended one the year before, I think it was, and I hope the councillors went this time, learned something, because we did last time. Very interesting. I'd never really been to Canberra before, but it was a good chance to catch up with a lot of other people, as was mentioned, that we all face very similar problems in the same areas of local councils in the bush, so to speak, and it cuts right across Australia. Actually, so most of these problems, they're very similar. So it's a great opportunity to network and meet other people and learn about their problems. As I said, very similar to ours, and also meet the politicians in the big house. So I have no trouble seconding.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Beard?
Through you, Madam Mayor, and this is a question without notice, and I'm sorry, Mr. Ray, but just for the sake of our listeners too, and I just again want to thank Mr. Asenio, who's here tonight, who actually helped create a motion that we put up at the National General Assembly to be voted on by all the other councils. I think it got consolidated from memory with an East Gippsland motion. So in regards to telecommunications during natural disasters for relief and recovery, are you able to tell us how that ended up, please?
Councillor Beard, through you, Madam Mayor, the motion was passed, so it was a strongly supported motion that was passed at the Assembly. I guess it does highlight the significance of communications in an emergency situation, and there were, I guess, a number of motions that were supported as a standard strategic motion put forward by East Gippsland.
Thank you, because it's not very often that we put up a motion, so to know that it's been supported validates what we do here. So thank you.
Any other commentary? I would just like to say that it was a very eventful week in Canberra, with over 1,500 delegates in attendance, represented by over 500 councils. So yes, we did do a lot of flying the flag, you could say, for Corangamite Shire, and making sure that all ministers and their advisors understood what our priorities are here in Corangamite, where we are on the map and what we stand for, and just letting them know and be aware that how much their funding is a little bit shortfall at the moment, and we would really like an increase in those fundings coming our way, because there's a lot of cost shifting happening at the moment, and we really are doing the best we can with the money that we are receiving, but we really do need to continue to fly the flag for Corangamite, such as for childcare, workforce, housing, roads and everything alike, because we are not alone. As said before, we are very similar to other councils in the region that are having the same issues as us, should I say, and we really do are flying the flag very, very high. But it was great to catch up with other councillors from around the state and make those connections again, because you do learn a lot from other councillors and what they're going through and how they're tackling issues that are very similar to ours and what we could bring back to Corangamite here. So I find these conferences very, very worthwhile, and I encourage everyone to attend at some stage through their council career. So thank you for letting me attend. It was great, and thank you, Mr. Senjo, for setting up those meetings as well. It was really greatly appreciated. So if there's no other commentary, I put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. I move on to item 9.13, change of date and location for the September council meeting. Mr. Senjo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. The September 2024 council meeting was originally scheduled for the 24th of September. This was changed to the 23rd of September at the April council meeting to ensure that this meeting was held before the local government election caretaker period. The state government has since declared the local government caretaker period to commence on midday on the 17th of September 2024, a week earlier than anticipated. Given the restrictions on council during the caretaker period, it is proposed to move the September ordinary meeting again to Monday the 16th of September at 7 p.m with this meeting to be held in Camperdown. This move will allow for ordinary council matters to be listed, debated and resolved prior to the caretaker period commencing. This change is permitted under the Corangamite Shire Council Governance Rules, Part D, Section 11.5, whereby the CEO, in consultation with the Mayor, may change the date of a council meeting if required. Madam Mayor, it is recommended the Council note the scheduled ordinary meeting in September, on Monday the 16th of September 2024, to be held in Camperdown in line with the Corangamite Shire Council Governance Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Senjo. There's a recommendation for us. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor Beard, do I have a seconder? Councillor Canady, Councillor Beard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sure Mr. Senior would love me to do questions without notice, but in light of the time of night it is, I think this is mainly administrative. Everything's been alluded to, so I have no problem in moving this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beard. Councillor Canady?
Nothing further to say, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other commentary, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 9.14, appointment of acting chief executive officers, 23rd of August to the 22nd of September 2024. Mr. Asenjo.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, and through you. The Chief Executive Officer, Mr. David Ray, is scheduled to undertake a period of leave commencing the 23rd of August 2024 until the 22nd of September 2024. During this time, an acting CEO must be appointed. Section 11 of the Local Government Act authorises the Chief Executive Officer of a council to appoint an acting Chief Executive Officer for periods not exceeding 28 days. For periods exceeding 28 days, council must make a resolution to decide upon an acting Chief Executive Officer. The Chief Executive Officer will commence leave that will extend to 31 days. It is requested that the Director of Corporate and Community Services, Mr. David Harrington, commences the acting Chief Executive Officer from the 23rd of August until the 8th of September inclusive, followed by the Director of Sustainable Development, Ms. Justine Linley, commencing as the acting Chief Executive Officer from the 9th of September to the 22nd of September inclusive. Madam Mayor, the recommendation is the Council approves the appointment of Mr. David Harrington as the acting Chief Executive Officer from the 23rd of August until the 8th of September inclusive, followed by Ms. Justine Linley commencing as the acting Chief Executive Officer from the 9th of September to the 22nd of September inclusive.
Thank you, Mr. Asenjo. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. I don't know whether we should approve this one.
I think
but
we
okay.
all put our hands up, don't we?
Councillor Beard and Councillor Gastrone, you are first. Go for it.
I'd just like to say that we are incredibly lucky and we'll be in very safe hands with Mr. Harrington and Ms. Linley while Mr. Ray enjoys a break.
Thank you, Councillor Gastrone. Councillor Beard?
Nothing further to add. Have a great time.
Any other commentary? Councillor Cole?
Councillor Gastrone didn't say well earned.
No, I noticed that. Very well earned.
No other commentary? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. And now we move on to item 9.15, Chief Executive Officer Instrument of Delegation. Mr. Asenjo, please.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor, and through you. The Local Government Act empowers councils to delegate a range of powers, duties and functions directly to the CEO by way of instruments of delegation. This enables the CEO and other council staff to make decisions on the day-to-day running of council to ensure services are delivered effectively and in a timely manner. Most of the delegations to council staff, including the CEO delegations, are made to positions and not individuals, and ensures staff are adequately empowered to undertake their roles and legislative compliance is maintained despite personnel changes. The current CEO instrument of delegation dated 27 July 2021 is due for review and, if authorised, will continue to empower the CEO to make decisions on behalf of the council. The same instrument of delegation will also prevent the CEO from making some decisions that the council are required to decide upon. These are detailed in Section 11 of the Local Government Act 2020. The instrument of delegation for council tonight includes a clearer, more defined language, although the financial limits and expenditure of the CEO that is authorised to make have not changed. Madam Mayor, the recommendations are that you revoke the previous instrument of delegation for the CEO dated 27 July 2021 and authorise a new CEO instrument of delegation attached to the report.
Thank you, Mr. Asenjo. Councillors, there's a recommendation before us. Do I have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Gastrone. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Beard. Councillor Gastrone.
No, just procedural, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Beard.
Totally agree. Thank you through you, Madam Mayor.
Any other commentary? If not, I'll put the recommendation to a vote. All those in favour? Carried. We move on to item 10, other business. Councillors, is there any other business you would like to raise at the moment? Councillor Cole?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I would like to mention that the Olympics are starting in France shortly, July 26th to August the 11th. And we have two young women in the Olympics, Penny Smith, a Bukar girl of outstanding note, so, also a very good shot. So July the 30th is her event at 5 p.m. French time. I don't know what time that was to hear, but she'll be shooting. And the other one is Grace Brown, a bike rider, a Camperdown girl who's ridden through Bukar. Well, they all have a Bukar connection. She is on August the 4th riding her push bike. So I wish them all the best and congratulations on actually being selected to get to the Olympics. That's a big step in itself.
Amazing.
And best of luck. We'll be all watching and cheering on. So congratulations.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Is there any other business people would like to raise? I have one. I need to send out a huge congratulations to one of our kindergarten educators, Barb Foster. She has just retired after 33 years of service at the Timboon Kindergarten. I had the much pleasure of having Barb as the teacher of my three boys, and I think Councillor Vogel's also had the pleasure of Mrs. Foster having taught his son as well. Not many words can explain what Mrs. Foster means to everyone in the community at Timboon. She's like the grandmother of all our kids. She is very loving, very kind, and she has imparted much knowledge onto our kids and has been very patient with them. I know my three boys have pushed her to the limits at some stage, that's for sure. But I just want to congratulate her on her retirement. I wish her all the success in her retirement. Please put your feet up, please relax. But I know she's got plenty of grandkids that are lining up to be looked after. So thank you, Mrs. Foster, for all the work you have done down at Timboon Kindergarten Services. You really are a gem down there and you're worth bottling, that is for sure. So thank you for that. And my last bit of item of business is that we know things are happening within the health services at the moment. We are unsure of what it may look like and what it may not look like, but I have heard that there is a rally going to be organised in Warrnambool in August, the middle of August. So I just encourage you to look out for that date and make sure that if you are concerned by anything, just reach out to whoever that may be within your community that might be in the know, and make sure you get an understanding of what could happen to the communities, and perhaps attend the rally and voice your opinions. That is up to you. I'm just letting you know that this is happening and that I encourage people to have their say on what may or may not happen within the health services. Other than that, that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything else? If not, I will check with my CEO if there's any questions came from online.
Madam Mayor, there are nothing from the online stream.
All right, so we have some confidential items to happen. So I need open forum. Sorry, my apologies. I was skipping through. Anyone would like to say anything from the go? Yes, Mr. Mulholland.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I stand before you not to criticise, but just to point out a few little things and point out that if you look after the little things, a lot of the big things look after themselves. And it's come to my notice, a few little things like the public toilets need a little bit of attention. When the doors won't close properly, someone like me could say, bugger off. But there are people in our community that get very embarrassed by a little thing like the door won't close properly in the toilet. And I just point out to the councillors that we need to look after the little things because they're just as important as the big things. And whilst I'm on my feet, could I ask the question with the Glenormston Agricultural College, where is it at the moment? Thank you.
I'll take that question on notice, and I think we could probably get back to you at a later date, Mr. Mulholland. I don't have an answer at this point, but we'll make sure we endeavour to get a response and get that back to you. Thank you. We have got some confidential items, so I need someone to standing orders. Suspend standing orders, please. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vogels and Councillor Cole. All those in favour? Carried. So thank you everyone for tuning in online. Really do appreciate it. Please stay warm, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.